spiritual in nature is something we have devotional poems, we have mythological texts which we follow, which we dance to. But even though right now I'm not in the temple, I am performing, and most of the dance that you will see today is performing art and not so much of, let's say, spiritual nature or connecting to the divine. But I still say that the goal is to eventually make the audience feel something after they have done the performance. So for example, even though, and this aligns with my personal belief, that entertainment should be not just entertaining, but also something that should leave you with a food for thought. And that is precisely what Indian classical dance aims to do, is that not only entertain the audience and the gods and goddesses for whom originally they were meant, but also to enlighten the audience, educate the audience, or make them reflect upon something. And this aligns with my personal beliefs. Now, how I ended up in this dance, just like most parents put their kids in some extracurricular classes, I was put in this class by my mom, and I would say I was the laziest or the least dedicated dancer or student, and that's because I was painfully shy. I couldn't imagine dancing in a room full of people, and eventually I managed to shake off a little bit of that shyness and did perform in a couple of school events and college events, and eventually even led a group in college. But after that, I took a step in my life which took me far away from dance, and that was really never the focus of my life. So I traveled to, last time I checked, 9 cities in 10 countries, and in those 10 years, I tried to get dance back into my life in some shape or form, but I couldn't, either because I was click with a teacher or my lifestyle wouldn't let me. And even up until March 2020, I was looking for a local teacher. And then, you know what happened, the pandemic struck, and I was like, okay, this is it. I resigned to my fate that this is not going to happen ever again. And however, at the same time, as Laura mentioned, I do pursue spirituality, and I've been pursuing that through different methods, chanting, meditation, like you would see, sitting down and trying to think of an abstract concept. Then a lot of things, even running, I thought that was meditative. And I tried many things, but none of it would work after a certain point of time. And then I came across this Instagram post by the spiritual coach of sorts, and he said that meditation need not be the sitting down and thinking of an abstract concept. And I was like, oh, thanks for saying that, because I always felt like there has to be something that works for different personalities. It can't be just one way of meditating, because different people have different things which work for them. And there were not many people saying what he said, that, you know, it's okay if you can't meditate with your eyes closed or eyes open and trying to think of some abstract concept. And I was like, thanks for validating me. And then he gave some alternate ways of meditating. And he said that if you move your body or dance as your ancestors were dancing, then that is something that can be meditative. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then he said that if you are stamping the ground, that can be meditative, that can calm your senses, that can calm your brain, which is what exactly I was trying to do. I was trying to de-stress myself. And I was like, okay, so Odissi is something which has a lot of footwork, and definitely something my ancestors were doing. So let's try that. And in June 2022, after so many years of trying, I finally found a teacher with whom I clicked. And so since then till now, I've been dancing, and here I am today. And I have not been back to the gym in the past 1.5 years, and I do not plan to go back. So that's liberating. And I want to share with you a little bit about like the next slide. Laura, if you can share this. This is the dancing girl statue, which is very famous, and it was found in Mohenjo-daro in the Indus Valley civilization, which is the oldest city of the world, one of the oldest civilizations. So this easily is 4,000 years old. So found in the 2000 BC, and estimated to be made around that time. And so 4,000 years ago, my ancestors were exactly not doing this dance that I'm showing you today, but they were doing some form of it. As you can see here, it little bit resembles Patripangi. She has those distinct bends in her body. And for me, that's fascinating. I do believe that our ancestors were far wiser than all of us. I don't know about others, but I definitely feel they were wiser than all of us today. And if I'm following any lifestyle that they were doing, and I mean like ancestors all over the world, then I'm doing something right. So that's very comforting for me. This right here is, if you see, half male and half female. So it's half Shiva, half Parvati, which is another god called Ardhanarishwar, and it literally means 50% male, 50% female. And why I find this god so cool is because it actually symbolizes what could happen, the composite power of masculine and feminine forces. Now, to come back to why this resonates with me so much is because I have been someone, I am in the world of like business and marketing, definitely a lot of masculine energy. And over time, I realized what I need to do is balance it with my feminine energy, which is predominant. And I find this very fascinating because in the dance of Odissi itself, it resonates so much. Because if you see, I'm using a lot of fast and quick footwork, which requires a strong core and strong legs. But at the same time, from the waist up, I'm doing pretty flowy, soft movements, which symbolize the feminine, the softness. And even like I cannot recall any time I have seen an Orissa dancer with stretched hands or stretched legs. There's always a bend, and that again symbolizes softness and femininity. And what I really like about this dance, I think practicing this dance for the past 1.5 years, I'm no scientist, but I could put 2 and 2 together and see that I have been able to at least balance or go towards the goal of balancing my masculine and feminine forces. So a lot of footwork which grounds me, connects me to Mother Earth. I'm an air sign. I mean, I'm not an air sign, I'm someone who spends a lot of time in her head, so up in the air. And I really needed something which would ground me to the earth. And since I'm spending 30 minutes every day dancing, stamping the ground, which much to my neighbor's dismay is what I'm doing every morning, and he's been very kind. And also then after that, walking on the ground. I think these are the things for the past 1.5 years that has really helped me ground me. And then of course the soft, flowy postures. And instantly while preparing for this dance, something just clicked. Like once my teacher commented that, Wentila, your footwork is fine, but your hand gestures, they're not like, prominent, or they're not, whatever. You have to work on your hand gestures. And while presenting for today, I realized, oh, that's right. My masculine part is the one which is dominant. Like my footwork is fine, but my feminine side is the one that I'm working on. Bringing it more to the front is the one which she asked me to, work on. And she didn't know any of this. But yeah, so that's pretty cool.